So South Africa's coal mining history goes back many years, and many workers, and they've always been there. They've been the ones to bear the harsh brunt of working conditions that have unfortunately resulted in the loss of many lives over the years, while others are still suffering from chronic lung disease caused by the coal mining dust. Now, in a first for South Africa's coal mining industry, human rights lawyers representing former and present coal mine workers this week filed a coal class action application with the High Court. And this application seeks to hold South 32, BHP Billiton PLC and Seriti Power responsible for their alleged actions dating back to 1965. So to tell us more about this application, we join now virtually by Dasantha Pillay, who's an instructing attorney for the coal class action. Dasantha, thanks so much for your time. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you for having me.
So let's just start by, perhaps for the benefit of those who don't understand what it means, what is a class action suit?
So a class action is a special mechanism within the law that allows a group of people who have the same grievance or issue to bring a suit to court and to represent all of those people in court. So normally, as a person with a lawsuit or a group of people, you would go to court individually and you would set your case out to the court. With the class action, you are representing everybody who has the same grievance.
So if we look at the one that you're currently dealing with, Dasantha, South Africa's coal mining history, of course, well known, dates back many years. But why did you decide, or those that you are working for, why was it decided on only 3 mining companies?
Thank you for that question. It's a really important one. So what we've decided in this litigation is that we are going to sue a group of mining companies one at a time. So we have started with the South 32 group, as we call it, and then we're going to move on to Exxaro, Anglo, and Glencore. We also have litigation against Sasol that is pending, but that is in a group action, not a class action.
So again, if we look at, as you say now, this South 32 grouping, and what exactly do you claim that they are responsible for? What are the alleged actions from March the 12th, 1965, that the argument will be for in terms of what you seek?
So across the board, we've seen evidence of consistent failure of these mining companies to implement and to follow the laws and the regulations set by the South African government and set by the law. This includes regulations around ventilation, dust suppression, health monitoring, and ultimately what is appalling to us and our clients, the mine workers, is that these companies just seem to have no regard for the conditions and regulations that they are supposed to implement. And that is not acceptable.
Dasantha, how many clients are you representing in this class action?
So there are 17 class representatives who will, and we have consulted with over 1,500 people. These class representatives will bring this case to court on behalf of thousands of coal mine workers.
So in the end, what would this mean for the thousands, or, will benefit accrue only to the 17 or to everybody?
The benefit will accrue to the entire class. So the benefit of a class action is that it's actually a very useful mechanism for people who would otherwise not have access to courts because it is expensive. People cannot afford attorneys. So this benefit will actually accrue to the entire class, and that includes all current and former coal mine workers who worked at these mines and developed this illness, as well as as dependents of these coal mine workers who died due to this illness. If a class member chooses that they don't want to be part of this class, there is an opportunity to opt out of the class.
So looking at history here, and one remembers that there was, of course, that landmark silicosis class action against the South African gold mining industry. And that was also an unprecedented move at the time. And it resulted in the largest ever, undertaken. And it resulted in 5 billion rand settlement for the broad class of gold mine workers. So any lessons learned from that approach? Will you be using a similar approach to what was used then?
I think many lessons learned, and this firm has started. This is the third in a series of class actions against mining, the mining industry. The first was asbestosis, and now then silicosis. Now we've moved to the coal mining industry. And ultimately, what we hope is that we can get a speedy and quick remedy for our clients, but a lot of that depends on the response from the mining companies.
And at this stage, is there any indication of, what they're likely to do? Has there been any response for them any which way at this point, Dasantha?
At this point, not, but we hope that there will be.
And what will your next step be should the High Court approve litigation?
If the High Court approves the litigation, we will then move into the notification stage, and that is to make sure that everybody who's covered in this class actually has an opportunity that we give everybody an opportunity to ensure that they want to be covered in this class and they want to be part of this class action litigation. And then we pursue we move to the trial phase of this litigation.
And as things stand, is there still opportunity for someone who may be watching this program right now, who is affected, has worked, in this industry, or perhaps has a relative who may have died of a disease contracted in this particular industry? How do they get in touch?
They're very welcome, firstly, just to come to our offices. That's a first step, to contact us on telephone. But also, we've partnered with the Southern African Catholic Bishops Conference. And through the Catholic Church, we've established great networks. And that is also an avenue for people to approach us. But the important and great thing about this class action is that even if you do not approach us directly and your name is not on the papers, people who have been affected and form part of this class will still benefit. And I think that is the beauty of a class action in a country like South Africa, where very few people can actually afford to prosecute and litigate.
Well, Dasantha, thanks so much for shedding light on this very important development. Dasantha Pillay is an instructing attorney for the coal class action, talking to us about their class action litigation filed with the High Court against 3 mining companies at this stage, she says. So at this point, it's the South 32 Group, which is South 32 BHP Billiton PLC and Seriti Power. And as Dasantha indicated, from there, they will move on to other groups as well. This is not the end of it. So you may be affected, you may know of someone, you may have relatives who may have suffered. As Dasantha says there, you are welcome to get in touch. And it's going to be interesting, as she says, you remember the asbestos class suit, and of course also the gold sector suit. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.